You wake up slumped over a desk in a locked tower with absolutely no memory of how you got here. The only clue is a frantic note pinned to the console, written in your own shaky handwriting. It lists 3 rules: take the pills, ignore the radio, and never open the blast door. You check your watch and freeze. You've been asleep for 4 hours and missed every single dose. Suddenly, a deafening silent alarm trips, bathing the room in a spinning crimson light. You look out the reinforced glass and see something massive circling the base of your tower. You scramble to hide under the desk, but then you notice the deep scratches on the ceiling. The gouges form words in the metal that make your blood run cold. Run from me. You try to ignore the writing, but the dead radio on your desk suddenly crackles to life without power. A voice cuts through the static, and your heart stops because it sounds exactly like your mother. She is crying, begging you to unlock the heavy blast door because something is hunting her in the woods. You forget the rules, you forget the pills, you just need to save her. Your hand touches the cold steel latch, ready to throw the bolt and let her inside. But then you glance down at the gap beneath the door, where the bright floodlight spills through. The shadow standing there doesn't look like a woman. It has far too many long, thin legs. The sobbing on the radio stops instantly, replaced by a deep, guttural growl. Let me in, I'm starving. You scramble backward away from the door as that inhuman growl echoes in the small room, realizing you almost let it in. You tumble into the tiny, grime-covered bathroom and slam the deadbolt home, desperate for a moment of safety. You need to wake up from this nightmare, so you splash freezing, rusty water from the sink onto your face. You grip the sink and stare into the cracked mirror, looking at a man on the verge of a total breakdown. You freeze, panting heavily, but you realize with dawning horror that the reflection in the glass isn't breathing at all. While your own mouth is open in a silent scream of panic, the reflection slowly begins to smile. Your arms are paralyzed at your sides, but the reflection raises a hand and hooks a finger into its cheek, pulling the skin down like cheap rubber. It mouths words at you without making a sound. Help me. The suit is getting too tight. Your knees buckle and you hit the cold metal floor hard, clutching your chest as a searing heat rips through your veins. It feels like your bones are grinding against each other like wet gravel, reshaping themselves under your skin. You stare at the empty pill bottle and suddenly realize those orange pills weren't medicine to keep you healthy. They were suppressants, chemical chains designed to keep you trapped inside this small, fragile human shape. You look down in horror at your arm as the skin begins to bubble and ripple like boiling water. With a wet tearing sound, your forearm splits open down the center like a cheap zipper coming undone. You scream, expecting blood, but underneath the torn flesh, there is only hard, shiny obsidian armor. The pain vanishes instantly as you realize the truth. You aren't dying, you are hatching. Your transformation is violently interrupted when the ventilation grate above you explodes downward in a cloud of dust. A soldier in full tactical gear drops from the ceiling, landing in a combat crouch with his rifle raised. He aims the gun at you, but he doesn't yell freeze. He screams in pure, primal terror. He isn't looking at a human guard anymore. He is staring directly at the nightmare standing in the center of the room. Desperate to survive the monster he found, he squeezes the trigger to execute you where you stand. Click. The weapon jams, betraying him in his final moment. You don't make a conscious decision to attack. A violent, ancient instinct simply overrides your brain. Your new body moves faster than thought, lunging across the room to silence him before he can clear the chamber. You turn from the carnage and sprint full speed at the reinforced glass, desperate to escape into the dark forest below. You shatter the window and leap into the night air, bracing yourself for the long fall down to the soft mud. But you don't hit soft earth. You slam onto a hard, hollow metal catwalk with a deafening clang. Confused, you look over the railing and realize the ancient trees are just painted cardboard cutouts hanging on wires. You look up at the full moon, but it flickers and buzzes, revealing itself to be nothing more than a cheap stage spotlight. Suddenly, the night sky tears open as massive overhead stadium lights blind you, instantly turning night into day. As your eyes adjust to the artificial glare, the horrifying reality of your existence comes into focus. You are never in the woods. You are standing in a colossal underground factory filled with thousands of other glass cages. You sprint along the catwalk and kick down the door marked Director, desperate to find out who built this prison. Inside the sterile office, you find a personnel file stamped with your ID number lying on the desk. You rip it open, but the photo of the human guard you thought you were is crossed out with thick red ink. The document labels you as a mimic, a creature that hallucinates a fake human life just to stay sane in captivity. Trembling, you turn to the large observation mirror on the wall, trying to summon the image of the man you used to be. But the drug has worn off, and your human face begins to melt away in the reflection like hot wax. The disguise drips off, revealing your true form, a sleek, eyeless cowl of black obsidian. You stare into the void where your eyes should be, and realize for the first time that you are beautiful. Subtle, ominous hums with faint, high-pitched laser targeting sounds dancing across metal, a low, barely perceptible mechanical breath. Tense, low industrial hum in a long corridor. Faint clinking of military gear and hushed, distorted radio chatter. Distant, heavy, rhythmic breathing. The sharp crackle of a megaphone, followed by a scientist's shaky, desperate voice, echoing slightly, pleading for submission. The scientist's voice, now louder and frantic through the megaphone, escalating into a desperate, high-pitched scream, veins popping. Deep, ominous mechanical grinding and creaking sounds, accompanied by a low, metallic hiss of smoke, replacing any human vocalization. A heavy, thudding mechanical step that causes the floor to crack and splinter loudly, followed by the distinct clatter of a dropped megaphone. A shrill, panicked scream of open fire, immediately drowned out by a deafening, overwhelming barrage of automatic weapon fire, shell casings clattering, and a sharp, acrid smell of gunpowder. The intense, slowed-down sound of thousands of bullets whizzing through the air and impacting various surfaces, punctuated by a subtle, sinister, metallic chuckle or hiss from the monster. The hallway explodes in a deafening roar of gunfire, but for you, time seems to slow down to a crawl. You watch the individual bullets spinning through the air toward your face, feeling no fear, only a cold curiosity. You simply raise your hand, and the entire volley of lead freezes instantly in midair, suspended by your will. The shooting stops as the soldiers realize they aren't fighting an escaped animal, they are fighting a god. You decide to show them what true darkness looks like, and with a thought, you kill every light in the facility. The only light comes from panic fire muzzle flashes, illuminating brief, horrific glimpses of you tearing through their ranks like smoke. The screaming lasts for exactly 10 seconds before the corridor falls completely silent again. You stand alone in the smoking wreckage, stepping over the debris toward the glowing red exit sign. You push open the final blast door and step out into the cold night air of a busy city street. Traffic slams to a halt and pedestrians freeze, staring up in horror at the 10-foot nightmare standing on the sidewalk. A woman screams, and chaos erupts as the crowd scrambles to escape the monster in their midst. But you don't attack. Instead, you close your eyes and remember the face of the man you killed in the tower. In a blink, the black armor recedes, The claws vanish, and warm human skin grows back over your bones. When the crowd looks back, the monster is gone, replaced by a handsome, confused-looking man in a torn uniform. You slip quietly into the panicked crowd, blending in perfectly with the prey you intend to hunt. So the next time you look in the mirror, look closely, because I might be wearing your face.